and you might have to like accept being recorded. Sign your fate away to me. So I was saying before, I teach composition to. I'm Chris, and I teach composition to pretty much all of my students, and even if it's not the center of focus, and I pretty much do anything to make it accessible. And so if my student can't read, then I just teach it, by rote, basically. If my student can read, sometimes I still teach it by rote, and so and so the cool thing about composition, in particular, I notice is that composition. A lot of people who compose can, especially students, can compose things that are more difficult than what they can read. And so it's always great to start from that angle. Now, if their reading skills and their composing skills are kind of on par with each other, it can be really useful to teach with a score. Because obviously using the score can help them keep track of things a little bit better in their composition. But for today, we're just gonna see what. I mean, I know that Jeff has a full score. Jeff has the even just like a what's it called, like a from a digital audio workstation. He's got audio. And then Houston has his score with him. I think he just emailed me. I'm gonna check for that actually. Um, and then and then Kimberly sent me a score, so we have plenty of scores to work from. And I think that'll be nice if I share my screen to. There we go, Houston, and I will download that now. The final battle. Interesting. I called. I'm just finding out now about Houston's piece, and so it's funny because I actually I think I called my one of my pieces the final battle too. um, I and I named it after let's see it's safe. I named it after, oh, sorry, not named it. It was sort of modeled after what's it called, the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. Like that, it sort of sounded a lot like that. Um, okay, so I know that is Rebecca here? Oh, there you are, Rebecca. Okay, so you said you have to go in like in less than an hour, correct? Okay, so then I think what I want to do is I want to start with Houston, and yes, and so I love the reaction. And so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna just I think I'm gonna share. Well, I'll highlight you for a sec. Oops, what's happened? Let me highlight you. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, hold on.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
So just keep in mind, I wrote this in my head over a year before I put it into sheet music, and I try to make it as close as sound as close as possible to what the sheet music sound like. So, because he used MuseScore, a program that basically allows me to write sheet music digitally, I was
Yeah.
able to hear what it should sound like. So it should. I mean, it sounds a little bit different because I try my best to recreate it.
And so, and
Yeah,
and MuseScore is something that I use with my students too. And MuseScore is great
yeah,
because it's free and it's like, it's such a good program because I've been honestly, like, I've used Finale for my composing for a long time.
yeah. I couldn't get that.
Yeah, no, no, and that's what I'm saying. Finale is like unnecessarily expensive, honestly. And then every year
Yeah.
they charge you to update it, and it's like barely an update. And so MuseScore is just fantastic for if especially for to work back and forth with your students. And so Houston, are you going to play your piece for us, or did you want me to play it, or are we just gonna show the sheet music? Did you have
I'm
a
gonna
plan?
play it.
You're gonna play it. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So then
Yes.
what I'll do is I'm going to just spotlight you here for a second, and then let's go ahead and, well, give me 1 second. I just want to pull it up on my end since I do have the sheet music. It would be nice to follow along, and and then all right. Well, I'm ready. Yeah. Why don't you play a little bit? Can you play for us?
You want me to play the full thing?
Yeah, play the full thing.
Not very long. It's like a couple minutes. Anyway, here we go. If it sounds a little bit faster, once again, I wrote it before I wrote the sheet music. So
Yeah,
here we
that's fine.
go. Okay, here we go.
That was awesome. Man, I love
Yes.
that. The you know what it reminds me of a bit is do you know the video game Undertale? Yeah, Undertale by any chance?
Yes, I do. Megalovania. I probably know.
Yeah, got
Like
a bit
something.
of Megalovania in there. There's another song from there. I think it's from there. What's it called? Bone Trousel. Do you know the Bone Trousel theme?
Yes, Papyrus's battle theme.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
let me here, I'll show you just so everyone else can kind of see. Can you guys see? Oh, I forgot to test it. Can you guys hear my audio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear?
So the Bone Trazzle theme goes like something like this. I don't know, I don't remember exactly. So pardon me if I make mistakes. Um,
Yes.
right. So it's got a very like similar sound to it. I love that. And you know what,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
yeah, and that's totally okay. So, I always tell my students like, no composition is 100% original. Like you're going to be taking ideas from somewhere, and so, and
That,
so
that similarities to Bone Truzzle is completely unintentional.
I know. Well, I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's okay. A lot of my compositions are totally rip-offs of like other pieces. I just don't say anything about it. So, and what especially reminds me of the Bone Trazzle thing, some of the cool things that are going on here, right over here, you've got this sort of bluesy sound. So you went exactly. You got that bluesiness going on. Hold on, let me. I'm covering the piano. Uh, oh, hold on. There we go. Uh, that's better. Okay. Yeah, so you have a little bit of the bluesiness going on there. That's pretty cool. And then you've got that left hand pattern going on, and then you've got this too. I love that change that you got going over there, which implies. Do you know anything about modes?
I may have heard of it
Yeah,
or
yeah,
heard of him.
and that's okay if not, And so sometimes so for everyone else who's listening, sometimes when I'm teaching composition, this is like my way of also introducing music theory too, and so yeah, students will often do, like I said, students will often do things that like, hey, they know it sounds cool, but they don't know what to call it, and so this is like one of those great examples of that, and so this is. So what you're doing right now is with that A natural is actually called it's implying that you're using a scale called the Dorian mode, and so it's kind of like minor. So do you know your minor scale? C minor?
Uh, yeah, C minor. Yeah, sure. Sorry, it's a bit
Yeah, that's
because
it.
I selected
That's
C minor.
perfect. Yeah, play the whole thing. Don't worry about it. And let's yeah,
Oh,
there
sorry.
we go. Exactly. And so Dorian is like minor, except you raise the sixth note of the scale by a half step. So we go. You want to try it? So instead of playing A flat, you play A natural. Perfect. Exactly. And there's your Dorian scale. Yeah.
Yeah, believe it. Actually, I had to flat the beat. For some reason, whenever I was playing it, I didn't actually have a set key in mind. I was actually just playing around with sections and then suddenly mashed them together and suddenly I just
I mean, it works for me. So, okay, good. So, lots of really cool things going on here. One of the first things that I would say, and this is not like super important, honestly. Like I said, sometimes I do composing like without sheet music at all. There's just some like, but if you want to notate it, there's some things. Excuse me. There's some things about the score that I would probably change a little bit of. So I'm gonna go through this really quickly because I don't want this to be kind of
oh,
the
there's an out of place forte I forgot to delete. It's okay. Too crazy.
so I don't want this to be like the focus of what we're doing. I don't want the score to be the focus of what we're doing, but I want to kind of bring it to your attention of things, some of the things that I would change in the way that it looks. So the whole point of a score is to make it as easy as possible for somebody else to play your music, and so there's a couple things. Let me annotate here for a second. So like when we go to yeah, that works. And so, uh, first thing I notice is like I see you have two fortes here. You don't need two fortes. You just need the
Yeah,
one
that was an
forte in the center.
accident. That was
Oh.
an accident.
Okay, awesome. And then one of the other things, and this can kind of apply to like the whole entire there's a lot of sections in here, and this is kind of something honestly that's like it's starting to become a little bit debatable in popular music. Is generally speaking, so you see these beams here on top. A lot of times,
Yep.
composers, what we like to do in order to make it really readable is we like to beam each beat separately, or at least like halfway through, which is kind of what you did here. But this first two beats looks a little confusing to me. I might have a little trouble playing it. So what I would do instead is got my um, I would probably do something like this, where I make this an eighth note, sorry, 16th note, and then I tie it over to another 16th note over here, and so
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
mhm.
That
And then I
like when I was using MuseScore, it didn't let. I just hadn't figured that out yet. Yep.
That's okay. That's okay. So, well, it's glad that you're thinking about it. Good. So you're being very considerate of your reader. Yeah. So just generally things like that. That's gonna work. And then, now, that's pretty much like the big blaring thing about the composition. The notation itself. That's like maybe I would just do that. So, and then actually one other thing too. Hold on. Being finicky. There we go. Okay. Let me share my screen again. So, and then one other little thing that I might do with the notation is start to add some expressive symbols too. So, like when you play it super expressive. So, we want your reader to be doing some of those expressive things too. One of the first things I would do to make it a little bit clearer. So, uh, this tempo marking, right?
Yeah.
Tempo is not just how fast to play, but it's also an expression. It's an indicator of how you want to express the piece. So if you had to give this piece one descriptive word, what would you say?
Epic.
Okay, epic, right? And then I would probably change that word to be more of like a what's it called? uh, adverb. And so instead of saying epic, I would say like epically. And so that's like, hey, play this epically. And that way, somebody, instead of just kind of like,
Um,
instead of just going,
could I?
what's up?
Listen. So you've heard like what it sounds like on piano. I was
Listen.
wondering, the
I love your word
actual
choice.
score version. No, he's got it right there. I was showing him. He's got it right there. It's okay.
What's up?
I mean, cause I wrote. Okay, so I wrote it in Muse score.
Hmm.
I told you that already. But basically, it sounds a little bit different inside of Muse score. It does.
Yeah, everything sounds a little bit different inside of MuseScore. It doesn't say, it's not exactly how
Yeah,
you want it to sound.
I'm
Yeah.
using it out of tune.
Yeah.
It's
That's
yeah.
okay though. And so, and yeah, and a lot of times when you add those expressive symbols in MuseScore, it sometimes it even messes up the way it sounds even more. So it's like the expressive symbols, you have the right intention, but the audio playback on MuseScore isn't quite correct, and so you just kind of have to like trust that in the long run, it's going to the person who plays your piece is going to do the symbols the way that you want. So now let's dive into your piece, the piece itself, and see if we can. I want now when I work with students, a lot of times what I do when I make changes or suggest changes to their music, it's just that I'm suggesting it. I'm not like demanding it, and so it becomes more of a collaborative experience. And so let's take a look at let's look at your piece here for a second, and um, again, you know, since you sent me the score, I'm going to share it because I think a lot of the people here like to be able to read along. Um, so the one of the first thing I would personally suggest is, and this is just like my own preference. So you stay on that C minor chord for a very long time. I think it's okay because it's kind of like I said, it sort of reminds me of that bone trousel thing, and you do eventually break off. What I think sort of the first thing that sort of like you know causes me to itch a little bit is that the left hand, the bottom part stays in that same place for the whole entire piece. So I wonder, is there any moment in this piece where maybe you might move the left hand to like a different range, like lower or higher? Do you have any ideas on when you might do that in this piece?
I actually don't know.
That's okay. So it's something to think about. So I was thinking like, you know, it's pretty. I was thinking pretty good for the first while. Yeah, and we've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta move this over just a sec. Want to do a B natural there instead of a B flat? What do you think?
Uh,
This is right
I
over
think it
it.
sounds better with B flat, honestly.
Okay,
Mark
that's
it
fine.
just to...
That's fine for me. Can you tell me why?
I don't know. I feel like it sounds a little cooler that way.
A little
Look,
cooler that.
I don't
That's
have a
fine.
better answer.
Okay, and here's why. Okay, so that's fine. Let me just give you my reasoning before you completely say no. So the B natural sounds pretty cool to me because the B natural gives it a little bit more of an edge. It's almost like a little bit more cringy. And so like if we're going with something that if you want to go for an image of something that's maybe a little bit more creepy, Halloweenish kind of, the B natural I think would be a little bit more appropriate for that kind of sound personally.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I'm not going for a creepy sound,
awesome.
honestly.
So that's fine. And so and this is yep. So that's why I said it's just a suggestion. And all right. So oh, and one of the things I was thinking of is like so I noticed in your left hand you're doing you were doing a smooth sound, right? Do you want to try
Yeah.
doing staccato instead? Can you try playing it that way and see how it feels?
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
try that. Nice. And no, I don't need the other half of my sheet music. Oh, it's fine. I'll give it back. Maybe just the...
Awesome. Awesome. What do you think of
Don't play
that?
the whole thing. Don't play the whole thing. Okay, don't play the whole thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
awesome. What do you
staccato.
think about that?
I
Yay,
don't know,
nay.
to be honest.
Play around with it.
Eh.
Yeah, play around with it a little bit more. Give it some time to think about it. All right, so now back to my
Okay.
original point here. So I think right at 19, when you start to do those repeated notes in the right hand, that's probably a good moment. You're already what's cool is you're already thinking of doing more in the left hand. I see that you're starting to do some changes with the harmony here, right? Can you play that section for people so everyone knows what I'm talking about? Bum 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 bum
Sure.
bum 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 bum.
Here we go. Okay. Let's go. Let's go.
Perfect. All right. So,
Okay.
that's the right idea.
There you
So
go.
I wonder if we can start to think of other things to do there. So like, so we can even do something like, you can start to do something like a moving bass line instead. So rather than just like holding the chords, that's just the first thing that came to mind. Can you? Are your hands big enough to play an octave yet?
Uh, sorta,
Almost.
kinda.
Okay,
I have
so
to do it on my fingertips.
that's okay. So instead of doing an octave, why don't we do a fifth? So like you do something like there we go. So yeah, and actually, why don't we do? I like how you did two notes there. Can you do? Can you try this? Do and so for the first two notes of your melody, do that. Wait, do it again.
Sorry, I'm still using.
That's okay. Do it again. Yeah, hold on. But instead of holding, do that.
I
Yeah, there we go. We got pulse, pulse, and then instead of it's I see.
sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Now I see. So you're used to doing. You've probably done stuff like this before, right? Like that, like a warm up,
Yes,
right?
those are the main chords I'm using.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And so instead of keeping your hand in one place for this section, why don't we move it around a little bit? Let's go. So something like this. I want your left hand. Let's try your left hand traveling here. So a C, then move your left hand up to F on bottom. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
good.
Sorry.
Good. Awesome.
I
Yeah,
like that.
I like that too. Yeah. And so and I think yeah, very nice. And I think specifically for this section. So I liked in the beginning how you kept it contained and it was like in this like this one position. And so as we develop towards the end, it might be nice, especially because your right hand is like staying in one place. It might be nice to have this like your left hand finally break loose into something like moving around the piano. Again,
Okay,
you
I'll
yeah, you're funny. You're and so you're a lot of my composition students are a lot like you. They're very um what's the word? Confident in their initial decisions. And so and this is why one thing I try to suggest to my students who are like this like you is okay, fine. Well, if you want, we can keep this composition exactly the same. But for the next piece that you write, can you try doing some of these things that I'm mentioning?
sure.
Sweet. Okay, so I think that just to kind of keep things moving a little bit on time, I think that I'm going to call it there. I wish I could work with you more on this. This is fantastic. So you've got such
Sure.
you've got, I
Thank you.
can tell you've got such an ear and such the right attitude for composition. So um, good job to you. Yeah, round of applause for sure. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So okay.
Um, let me just.
Oh, Julie Follett just entered the room. Okay, cool. So you're muted yourself, and then why don't we do oh, let's stop sharing, and then let's see. We have Jeff and Kimberly. Do you guys have a preference on who goes next? No places to be. Okay. Let's do. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a bite. So let's do Kimberly first. And so this is what flipping a coin is for, right? And then Jeff, we'll get to yours. Do you have time? Do you have time? Okay, awesome. So yeah, because I could have sworn I remember you saying you had like things going on. All right, so okay, so Kimberly, can you unmute yourself? Awesome. I'm gonna just spotlight you for a sec. Did you want to play your composition?
Sure.
Okay, can you just introduce yourself a little bit quick? Just tell like.
Oh, sure. My name's Kimberly Scapano. I'm a piano teacher here in York, and I am a classically trained pianist. So I really never delved into composing or improvising. So every once in a while, something comes to me, and I sit down and try to write it out. So it's something I enjoy, and would maybe like to do more. But the inspiration behind this piece is I had a student who just graduated last year. It was a student I was hoping could do the class with you, but it didn't work out. And she was with me for about 13 years. So I started her when she was 5, and we grew very close. And so, anyhow, when she was graduating, I didn't present this to her yet because I don't feel it's finished or polished. But anyhow, she was the inspiration behind this piece.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's good. So, oh, and is this why it's called So Long? So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. So the name of the piece is So Long. So you're basically saying goodbye to her, I assume. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so sad.
I know. In a way, but we do stay in contact. We had lunch just like a couple weeks ago. So, but she is in college, and she's actually majoring in piano performance.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think she's constant. I think she is minoring in composing. She has a knack for it. She's really good at it. So
Well,
anyhow.
I mean, you do too. So,
Oh, thank you.
so I'm sure she got it from somewhere, you know. Okay, cool. Why don't we let's hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks.
That's even better than when I was reading through it. I loved
Oh,
it.
thanks.
So, yeah, very fantastic. So let me. So this is just. I mean, the things I just especially love in here, like parallel thirds, parallel six. They're my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And then the chord progression itself was really nice. You've got a nice little walking bass line. Or there's another name for it. I think let's just call it a walking bass line. And so this is the other thing too, like with my students. So sometimes they'll do something that I don't even know the name for that I like, and so I'll just say like, "Hey, the thingamajig that you did there," and so,
Yeah.
um, or like or maybe they'll be too young like to remember a fancy theory term, and so I'll just say like, "Hey, remember when the bass kept stepping down? That thing." And so, but yeah, so that was awesome doing that. And then you chose an excellent key for reading, and
Did you like that?
yeah, yeah. You know what's the funny thing is though, I love G flat major. I love D flat major. I think they sound beautiful and they're easy to play. They're just a
Oh,
nuisance to
okay.
read. And
Yeah.
so, right. And then we got the walking bass line. So nice.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah. And then we've got that bass line going down and then D. That's beautiful. And so that's great there. You've got the hidden melody inside of this pattern here, which is cool. So the whole concept of like hidden melodies is very clear in this piece, and I love that. That's just fantastic. And then you have a hot like a nice melodic climax here, bottom. So like the direction, there's a lot of direction in this piece, which is really nice. Um, so that's really cool. There's uh, let me see, and then I love how you develop into this section right here with the repeated octaves. I think like it was like, oh yeah, we needed that intensity. Like I was starting to get tired of the schmaltziness, and so you got like something intense here. Very nice. I love that. And then the ending too. I love the way you kind of like rope this off with that with sort of a callback to. Um, did you do this before? I thought you did this before. Da, da, da. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Measure
in
21.
there.
Hmm.
21. Yeah.
Yeah, you did it before. So I think having that callback was really, really an effective way to end this piece. So really, overall, like so cool. Very nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Houston, you see what she opened with expression, and so on her score. So it's like a little bit of a literally an expressive mark there, and so and with the name of the piece, you might even change that to something like with sadness,
Yeah.
or with like bittersweet or something like that. The more specific you get with the emotional with the word, the more I think they're gonna play it the way that you want it to sound. Um,
Yeah.
and
I was
so
even thinking like forlorn or something like that, but
yeah, perfect. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I'm gonna just give you a couple of little things on the notation here, just some little thing, because I'm um, like OCD with that stuff, and but
okay.
I don't want to focus on it because that's not really super important. So first things I look for is overlapping of symbols that shouldn't be overlapping. So like I would bring this up
Yes.
above
Yeah.
the slur, yeah, or like
Yep. And the
the eight
end. Yeah,
VA
I know.
symbol.
With the 8 VA and retard end, I know. I got to fix that.
Yeah, and then instead of doing the 8 VA in the left hand here, I probably would just do treble clef.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But other than that, this is looking just it's looking fantastic with the notation. So, um, you might consider only having the slurs in the top part over here. I don't
Where,
know.
where are you at?
Sorry, at the very beginning, like so I'm not 100% sold on that on my comment there, but might just only do the slur in the right hand to indicate like, hey, here's the main melody. Um, so sometimes
Mm,
articulations can be used more as like an indicator for like to help the composer understand, to help the pianist understand like where your main melody is. Um, like Rachmaninoff and uh, and he's a great example. Like he'll use like tenutos and staccatos, not actually mean tenuto or staccato. He's just uses it to be like, hey, here's my melody. And so
Okay.
um
Okay.
because he's got these like crazy thick textures. Okay, so
Okay.
that's all I want to say with the notation. So as far as like suggestions, things that I might do a little bit differently. Um, it and so is so you've got like this really nice progression of you've got this really nice progression of ideas going on. I wonder if there's ways that we can, like, the first thing that comes to mind is I wonder if there's ways we can more gradually work in those changes. So like when you first introduced the 8VA, I was thinking that since so you do that repeated, right? You go sorry. And so the first, I noticed the first time you wrote that, you wrote it 8VA, but it happens again. I thought, oh, maybe not. Wait, where am I? Oh yeah, it does. It happens again, but with the stick.
Right.
And so you might consider like just introducing it at the lower range first, and then we go an octave higher, like that, where we so it has a little bit of like a little bit more growth there. Um,
Hmm.
hmm Well, I mean, what do you think about that choice?
Um, I mean, I will mess around with it. I will mess around with it.
Okay. Um, you're allowed to have an opinion too. So, but I mean, you said you're classically trained, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So I was too, and I know how like being classically trained, we are not allowed to have opinions, and so feel free to debate. I mean, Houston did a great job of debating me and arguing with me. So
Well, my biggest thing is, eh, and I will toy around with that. I feel like this middle section, it needs something. Like I feel like it's too redundant. Like I like it, but I feel like it's redundant and it's not going anywhere.
okay.
That's my biggest concern.
I didn't really, I didn't feel that as much. And I think, that if you do this like little changes that I'm making, like take the octave away for that first time, I think that'll help a little bit with that problem.
Okay. Okay.
And so, what you could do is, so there's a couple other things like little things. And this is just like um, little things here and there that I'm like, ah, well maybe. And so like another thing that sort of like what you could do, for example, like even just I mean like the opening section. Okay, let's start from the beginning because I've got things to say in the beginning too. And so and what's funny is you accidentally did one of the things that I was going to mention. Um, and so in the score, you have the same pattern going on in the left hand. Oh, hold on, I got to get my keyboard up. I minimized it. And so you have the same pattern going on. But what was interesting is when you played for me on that third measure, you actually changed the pattern. You went and so you did two eighth notes at the end of the measure rather than having that same pattern. And I was going
Wow.
to suggest, I think something that could make this a little bit more. So I've seen a lot of pieces in this style, and one of the things that I think I enjoy. I used to. It sounds like peaches. One of the things that I used to kind of like about is like how some of these pieces can come off a little bit more improvisational, but it's sort of grown on me a little bit. And so you might consider with the left hand pattern actually changing the rhythm from measure to measure and on purpose. And so, like, on that third measure, purposefully save those last two notes for the two eighth notes. Do you want to try?
Wait, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, sorry. So here, I'll show you. And so over, oops, sorry. So over here, you accidentally played this as two eighth notes.
Oh, with the quarter rest on beat three?
Correct. Right.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So do that
Do that on purpose now. Yeah.
from the beginning or just measure three?
Do it from the beginning so you can kind of feel the context of it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the right idea. And
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm-hmm.
there's plenty of other rhythmic solutions. So like, why don't you try um,
Well, I did change the rhythm on starting measure nine.
measure nine? What do we got? Measure nine. Oh, I forgot to clear. How do I clear this? Okay, measure nine. You did change it. Yeah. Well, sort of. um, right. You changed what it looked like, but it still sounds the same, right?
Mm.
Essentially. Um, yeah. Let me give you a couple of other options here too. So like, what if we did um, what if I mean, even honestly, if you just did, well, that I it kind of no. Let's do something that keeps that sort of swung feeling to it. So, uh, why don't you change in that first pattern? Why don't you change the D flat to a quarter note? So bum bum, and then the next one to a quarter note. So we go bum bum bum. Sorry. So something like this. Something like that.
On measure four?
Any of the measures doesn't matter. So like what we have, so in other words, try this same notes, but try this rhythm. So we got eighth note, quarter note, quarter note, da da da, and then eighth note, eighth note, eighth note. That should work. Wait, da
Eighth
da.
note,
Uh,
quarter note, quarter note.
yeah. So
What?
bum bum ba bum 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 ba da dum. So eighth note, quarter note, eighth note, eighth note, eighth note. And this is just,
Okay,
I can come up with lots.
so
Yeah. Uh, the right idea. Yeah. Yeah, that's the idea. Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so this is just like one of many different options that you could have for that left hand pattern, left hand,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of encourages if you do this almost every time, it kind of encourages it to feel a little bit more improvisational in nature. Um, now, uh, yeah, and if you're a person, if you like structure, then that's probably gonna kill you. But but it's an idea. Are you going to yeah, and yeah, so it's a possibility. But let me go to some of the ideas that I kind of felt a little bit more strongly about, because that one sort of was like, maybe, because I do like patterns too, honestly. One of the things that did kind of bother me just a little bit was so you had this stepwise, and I kind of understand why you're doing it too. In the middle section of the piece, when you do have the 8VA, you got rid of the stepwise motion in the bass. You went, and you went an octave up for the D, right? Um, if if you I think I can see like you wanted to have like that upper range there, correct?
Mm-hmm. Are
So
you talking about measure 20
ye
or
measure 12
15?
actually. So take a look at measure 12. We've got the your left hand went up an octave. And
Yeah.
so maybe instead of bringing it up an octave, what we can do is expand the range of the pattern. So you go something like you know, let me pull this up a little bit. So we got uh, that covers a larger range. So if you take a look, I'll show you. So instead of doing you know that instead of just doing root fifth octave, we do root octave fifth, and then then you can go to whatever choice. Then we get that E in there. So we go octave, fifth, second, and third, and then you've got it's really nice. You got the high note that you wanted, but you also don't break that stepwise motion that you got. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So expanding could be your solution there. Hey, look, you did the rhythm that I was talking about. You see this? Something similar to the rhythm at at measure 20. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
very nice.
Just a quarter
Yeah.
note at the end instead of the 3/8 notes.
Yeah, well, close enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we're on the same page. All right. So, um, okay. So now, like I said before, I love parallel sixths and parallel thirds, but sometimes it can create problems. And not you can get the sound that's not exactly what you're going for. Um, and one of those spots is at measure 12. And actually, it's not really a matter of the sound so much. It's more of like the feeling of it. So, and I think actually when you played it, you did this. You might have done this. So you wrote this. I keep playing C. Right? So you did the all parallel. But I think when you played it, you did what I was going to suggest, which is leave out the bottom note for the 16th notes and just go. So that way you only have the harmony when you on the rhythmically strong beats. You want to try that?
Okay.
Yeah. Or you can compromise and just get rid of the second 16th note harmony. So that I don't know if that makes sense. That so you could just get rid of this note right here. Yeah, right. So you could just get rid of the second one if you want to compromise.
Uh-huh. Oh, just make it an eighth note.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that?
So yeah, I think I don't know if I misheard, but so you only have the E flat. So the only note you're getting rid of is the D flat right here. Um,
Okay. I thought you meant get rid of the second 16th altogether.
no,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, yeah, possibly. I think I still prefer to get rid of both of them, honestly, but that's this is something to mess around with for sure. And so that's great. And then a little bit later. Now here's the other thing is like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that C flat in general? To me, it feels like not as clean. I don't know what the word is, but it almost feels like having that flat seven in there sort of feels like a little, I don't know, muddy, or I don't know what the word is, but maybe that's a spot where like instead of doing parallel six, you switch to parallel thirds for a second. Um, so we go, you know, you can do something like that instead of. It could potentially work. It creates a little bit of a lighter sound. But then we run into another issue. Um, the D. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the C flat. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what to do yet about it, but sometimes, when you're composing, sometimes you might not have a solution right away, and it's okay. And so you might want to just spend some time on it. Okay, now the last thing I think I want to bring up as a potential for, okay, you said that you felt like it got a little stale somewhere, right?
Yeah, in the middle section.
hmm And so, and I think that what I'm about to say kind of like works. The next thing I wanted to work on kind of works with that problem that you're having, which is at measure 25. I felt like that. It's great, but it also kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. and so,
Okay.
um, and so I think we can build up to it more. So like, we've got this, um, and then suddenly like and we can I think work up to that by like adding some octaves in there or something for so let's see, so like maybe consider sorry, you can start these left hand patterns with an octave in the G flats, so go octave low octave G flats pattern. Sorry, what's that?
Starting at 21.
Yeah, 21. So start by adding octaves in the bass. So you go octave, continue the pattern normally. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there we go. And then that helps a little bit. And if you wanted to, so you started up here, right? You did something like this. You started in that. I you might even consider starting. Watch, you can get you might consider starting one octave lower. Off over. Start a loop. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh huh.
I'll experiment with that. I sort of didn't mind the unexpected change,
Oh,
but
okay.
I I will experiment with the registers
Okay.
and octaves.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So if you want that's fine then. Da 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 da. Yeah. Then the octave change should help a bunch with the just um the growth of it. Um, One other thing you might consider to help that the what you wanted to kind of fix a little bit. By the way, also, if you did want it to be more gradual, you could do something like in measure 24. You can do like a left hand only. You could do like build up, something like that, or you can do maybe like like a yeah, some kind of scale lead into that into the octave there. That could be fun. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. That could work. Yeah, yeah, that could be fun. Um, so we should probably wrap up soon. But man, 30 minutes is not enough, is it? um, so okay, so one of the other things that you could consider is doing like a chord change, but I love your chord progression so much. Like I almost don't want to change it. But so like let's see. Where would be a good spot to do a harmony change? So let's see the chord progression. I really I don't know. I think that the problem is it doesn't bother me like it bothers you. I think it sounds fine. um, so I'm just trying to
I just didn't know if it came across like redundant, like, and
no.
I don't know, like it wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, so I think like I said, adding like like the subtle changes, like the octave, like the range differences, that could probably be like the only thing that you need to make it feel like it's going somewhere. Because I think as
Okay.
far as like I was gonna suggest changing something like the harmony, but like it's fine. You've got enough going. You've got enough changes with the melody, and with and now potentially with the range that like I think it's fine. Um, the the only last thing that maybe I would suggest is like I think your piece could actually be even longer. And
Mhm.
and so you might.
That's what I was trying to do with the middle section, was make it longer, but feel like it had direction. So I added, I don't know, like some of the measures, and because I did want it to be longer. So
Well,
where would you suggest I do that?
yeah, the easiest solution to making any piece longer is just bring back the first section. So, A,
A
B,
deep,
A, right? And so like if you and you kind of almost did that with the tag with that little
yeah,
coda at the end, but
yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah, and so then, and then maybe just make like a couple of little changes like um and
right.
like, maybe when you come back instead of doing the range up here, maybe you can just do something a little bit smaller in the upper register before you like lock in. So like let's say we're going you go something like this up here. By the way, I kind of like
Ooh,
going.
that's pretty.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was considering changing in your chord progression was instead of going to flat, I would go to C flat,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of build into it. Something like that where we
Oh, I like that. I like that.
yeah, sometimes and this is the thing is like for everyone watching, like sometimes like words are not enough to say what I'm trying to the message I'm trying to get across, and so like I'll do what I just did, which is just play, and
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, so that would be really cool if you added that as a section after the fact after that
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
really cool bridge. Awesome. Okay, so this is fantastic. I think I want to move on to for the sake of time, and but
Thank you.
yeah, that was awesome. I just love that, and
Oh, thanks.
best of luck to your student.
Yeah. When I finish it, I will gift it to her. But yeah, you're a teacher, you have these students, and I've been privileged to have some students with me for a very long time. And she's one of them. And she's just, her and her whole family actually have just been amazing. And they'll always hold a very special place in my heart.
Oh, okay. I've got a few students like that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, hard to let go of them, right?
it is hard.
Yeah. Um,
But that was part of the reason for this. Like, I wanted her to take her wings and soar.
yeah. Yes. Yeah, I know. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think let's move on then. So Jeff, let's look at your piece. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Hi, yes, my name is Jeff. I am, let me see, I'm still,
Oh, sorry. I gotta remove the spotlight.
oh, there we go. Now I can see what. So my name is Jeff Millis. I am just real quick. It's funny, Chris. I we had our discussion earlier about we use like all different software, but we do use one in common. I do use Classroom Maestro also, so I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, but I am actually I've been composing and teaching composing myself for a long time. But when I've kind of been doing it in a bubble, like in isolation for a long time. I know what works for me. I know my bag of tricks, but I am looking to maybe potentially maybe market some music in the future. And I really feel like I need some other opinions. It's been a long time since I've gotten any kind of outside professional input, and so I'm always looking to improve my own bag of tricks. And so when I saw that you were going to do this, I actually had this project already that I want to share today in the works. But I saw the opportunity for your masterclass, and I said I think I want to do that first because if I can, because I'd like some other input. So just maybe for I guess for everybody else's my piece that I will share today, I cannot play it for you because it's for too many hands. So I have it's written for lots and lots of people. This is something kind of weird. I did one of these before during the COVID lockdown of like the whole world. I did what I called, for lack of a better term, a virtual piano choir, which is where I wrote some music that was really, I mean, if, oh, and by the way, Chris, I saw that everybody else had sent you a PDF of their music. And so while Kimberly was sharing hers, I real quick emailed you a PDF of mine. I don't know if you'll find that useful for
uh,
screen sharing or whatever. If
yeah.
you don't want it, that's fine too. I mean, I have the score to screen share it as well.
Yeah, I got the Note Flight score that you
Oh,
sent me. Yeah.
awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so anyway, what was it? Yeah, so the idea behind the virtual piano choir is it's written. I mean, if you look at the score, it's like nine grand staves all stacked on
It's a
top of
lot
each
of
other or something.
pianos. Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody plays the whole thing. What I did is I chopped up all of the pieces and sent. I had like 50 something people participate, and I sent them all like two or three measures. Everybody had just had a very little part, and they would record it at home and send it to me. And my friend Colin, who is in the meeting, I think if he's still here or if he had to leave, I don't know if he's still here. Oh yeah, Colin's still here. He's a genius. He's a video pro, and he's awesome. And he taught me how to put it all together into one of those like amazing videos where everybody, you see the cool. It looks like a big ensemble. Everybody recorded themselves at home, and you put it all together. It was really really cool. That previous one was for a birthday occasion, and so we called it Epic Birthday, and it was like 57 people playing this massive version. Really awesome. And so I was putting together a new composition because I wanted to do another one of those. It was a lot of fun, and that's what I was working on. And then I saw the masterclass opportunity, and I decided, well, I'm going to stop here. But so that's what I have to share. Again, I cannot play it because I only have two hands, but I do. Would you prefer that I share to play it the video version or the score version, Chris? It doesn't matter to me. Do you have a
Yeah.
preference?
Yeah, so before that, I just wanted to say, like, get a little
Sure.
intro on my side too. Like,
Yeah.
I heard first time I heard this piece, I'm like, wow, blown away. Like, this is
Oh,
just amazing. Like, so and so I want to say, like, I work with when I work with someone who is, let's say, at your level, it becomes much more of a collaborative experience. It's much more like, hey, maybe we can just try this, see what happens,
uh-huh.
kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so just you're gonna there's and then I did notice, like, well, we'll get to it, but
Okay, cool.
yeah, so just fantastic. It's excited to work with you. So as far as I mean, it doesn't matter. You could share or I could share. Do
Okay.
maybe just for kind of consistency, I will share.
Sure. Yeah.
And I have your score pulled up.
Awesome.
Let me know if the sound comes through okay. And so, like, cause just to be sure, give you one sec.
It's called I Think We Won.
Hmm.
See? Yeah. Yeah,
Is
I
that
can hear that.
that
Yeah.
comes through okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then yeah, so this is this great. Uh hey, quick question. Why did you name it I Think We Won?
I have no idea. Honestly, titling pieces is the hardest part for me. I have jokingly named, like I have a piece that I'm, working on. Showed some students, and I literally called it "The title is the hardest part." Um, and I've done that before. I also joke with students. I say, I have a grab bag of throwaway titles that I just use because I don't can't think of something until I do. Like one of them is an ode to Pluto, which is no longer a planet. I use that as a throwaway sometimes. Or another one I finally used is for everyone except Elise. I have a piece called that. But anyway, I have a piece called that. But yeah, this one I just kind of thought of a really. I just like it. It's kind of I don't know. I just thought it was a neat title, and
What's
there we go.
interesting to me is at least, I think I used to think a little bit more that way when I was starting compositions. Um,
Hmm.
when I started to write for students more, um, I actually started from the opposite angle. I started with a title and then I wrote a
Hmm.
piece based on that, or I started with like a concept and then I started
Yeah.
from that.
Hmm.
And so like it might be something interesting to try out.
Yeah.
Like, write a piece that sounds like Pluto, or you know what I mean,
Right.
rather than just like, hey, here's a bunch of cool sounds, like.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point.
um, and okay, so let's listen to your composition. Yeah, so this is just so fun. So that's a fun piece, and I can imagine like when you're
Thank you.
yeah, when I can imagine when you have like students playing your students playing all the parts and joining in. This is just like a piece that just I played in a bunch of bands when I was like
Mhm.
in my younger days, and, and I could just imagine like playing this. It just feels like I'm jamming along.
Yeah.
It's a nice head bopper. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I have trouble not just like bopping my head the whole entire time. So that's just you captured that feeling, and it does. It feels like I won. So
Yeah.
so, and as far as like one of the things that I just particularly was like, how do I say this? That one of the things that sort of struck me the right way,
Hmm.
which I often have to like suggest to other people is like um, uh, balance, form, and texture. Those are
Hmm.
three things that often irk me a little bit. And you nailed all three. Like I was so
Oh,
happy.
awesome.
Yeah, and so like the form felt just right to me from beginning to end. I was like I never got tired of anything.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
never got tired of anything.
Cool.
Never felt like I needed like uh, there I have a couple comments on
Sure.
texture,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I felt like pretty satisfied. Um,
Hmm.
so that's all great. So yeah, awesome. And now again, like I'm saying, everything I'm about to like kind of just suggest is just that. It's like if you left this piece exactly the way it is, I would be entirely happy.
Awesome. Well, hey,
um,
I'm all about, I mean, I'm all for suggestions though. I mean, that's kind of why I do this a lot. I mean, I compose without input. I've done that for so long. I'm interested in, what do,
yes.
yeah,
So
anyway, go ahead.
okay, so why don't I start with some bigger things, bigger like
Sure.
big something on the bigger side that's like, hey, you might want to just kind of like as a whole consider this idea.
Hmm.
Um, I sort of feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities in here for like little diddles, kind of, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, and so, um, if you listen to like what you've got going on here, you've got excellent foreground, which is like the main melodies and stuff, and you've got excellent background. But then I'm kind of hoping for a little bit more here and there, like a little fill or a little bit of like a, um, uh,
Hmm.
it's when my wife listens to like any pop songs on the radio,
Uh-huh.
she always like sings along to the parts that are most unexpected, like parts I didn't notice before. Like there will be out of nowhere there in like a Taylor Swift song there will be like a boing or something like that, and she'll like
Uh-huh.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like, I
Yeah.
didn't even notice that part before. Like, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
and so there's some moments in here where I'm like, you could include a little bit more of that, especially
Hmm.
in the upper range of the piano, especially. Um,
Hmm.
and so like hold on, I gotta pull it back up. Give me a sec. Oh, it's because it's on full screen. How do I get it? Hold on. What is going on? Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Technical difficulties. What is? Okay, hold on. Escape. There we go. Okay, and replay. So I think probably the easiest way that's gonna be. Let's do this. I have the score, but for this particular comment, I think it'd be easier to just kind of like stop it at a point
Sure.
where. So let's play a little bit, and I'll kind of like stop it at some moments that I felt that.
Cool. Okay.
Like I think it's fine at the beginning. You're just kind of like setting the scene.
Hmm.
Okay, so already like, and actually this is maybe not necessarily upper range, but I'm starting to get this feeling of like that bass,
Hmm.
having that like repetitive bum, bum,
Mm-hmm.
bum, bum. It might be nice at some point, and I know that if I remember looking at the score, you have the one piano player doing those bass notes and doing the that sort of complex rhythmic melody. So it
Yeah.
might be a little bit tricky to put this in, but you might consider at some point just breaking the monotony of that left hand just with like a little bit of like uh something like that,
Mm-hmm.
where we have
Mm-hmm.
like just a little bit
Yeah.
of an extra fill there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, uh,
That's cool.
yeah. That's so cool. I'm getting like Rent vibes here.
Well, my intention, I mean, I really like that idea, and I think I am going to go in and mess with it. My intention was the very first time through the whole theme to keep it real, just kind of stark, and then because
Mhm.
I think in a few seconds it's going to kind of go through it all again, but just get bigger and fuller. Um,
Yeah, I
and
don't.
I don't know, maybe on the second time through, but I mean, it's definitely worth a try. I would love to mess
Yeah,
around with
yeah, and I'm not saying do like a whole crazy amount of it. I'm just saying
that.
like once in a maybe once or
Yeah.
twice during that section, just to kind
Uh-huh.
of like to add a little spice to it.
Yeah.
So like you have a little bit of a fill here, which is nice. That's nice. But we may even be able to do more. Yeah, yeah, something like uh, something like that in the upper
Uh-huh.
voices. Um,
Right. Okay.
right. Just like
Yeah.
a little bit of even though it's not like super important, it's not it's
Right.
not even related to any of the melodic content. It's just kind of a nice little like, hey, look,
It's
chimes.
yeah, it's like yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's like decorative.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Mhm.
exactly the
Yeah,
word
I
I'm looking
like
for.
that.
Yeah. So,
And then right here, where it does it again, it kind of starts over, but just bigger and fuller a
yeah.
little.
Yeah, yeah, I get. Uh-huh. And no, I
Mhm.
understand. Trust me. Like I'm loving I think as far as like texture is concerned, stuff like that, I'm so like it's great. You scratched all my itches the whole way through.
Oh,
Like
cool.
So, okay, I mean, I think you get the idea with the decorative things. There's like
Hmm.
uh, the two spots, there's two more spot like the spots that were particularly like it initially stood out to me were in the transitions and at the
Hmm.
ending. That
Oh, okay.
right. So in the transition when you I mean you can include it in other spots too, but like when you're just like holding a note there for until the next section starts, I feel like that those are good opportunities to kind of like diddle around. And then
Hmm.
at the very end instead of just kind of hitting that last note, sorry, right, instead of just hitting that last note, you could do something that leads into it, or something like that,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right?
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so as far as the fills, that's good. Then the second overarching comment that I kind of potentially would play around with. Oh, I lost my train of thought. Give me a sec.
No
Recall,
problem.
buffering,
I know
buffering.
that feeling also. I know that feeling also.
um, da, 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 da. Oh yeah, there's one thing in group. Okay, so let me check your score because I
Sure.
got it's a little hard to see in that format, but
And,
like
and can I just say real quick about the score? Just so that you know, the notes that I have there, they're not intended to be taken as this player plays this and play this player. When I went through the initial step of writing it all down, I'm just sticking it for the moment in whatever staff it would fit in.
yes,
So the next step is to kind of chop it up and assign different parts to different people. Um,
yes.
so you don't have to, it's not like this person plays that and this person plays that. It wasn't.
Okay, I see, I see.
Yeah,
So, and so, okay, so the only other like overarching comment that I have, is and you kind of did okay, you did a little bit there, but in general, there's one thing that one opportunity. I mean, at this point, it's probably like not really something you can change, but maybe in like future compositions, you can consider it.
Hmm.
There's one opportunity that I think you missed out on a little bit, which is like
Sure.
unison. Right? And
Ah,
so
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, uh-huh.
yeah, and so like, especially like it's so if you imagine like a live performance in particular when everyone's playing the same thing, it's such an impactful moment.
Right. Yeah.
Um and so you did a little bit with the bum bum, like when everyone
Uh,
plays that chord, but you could
hmm.
have like an entire, phrase or section where everyone's
Right.
playing the same thing.
Right.
Five again going back to Rent, right? When everyone's standing at the front of the stage in that five, what is the 500 something thousand minutes.
Oh, right, right,
Um,
right, right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I see it.
yeah, so it's just that was the second thought. But like I said, at this point, I don't know how much you can do
Hmm.
about that in this particular composition, but it's something that could be a lot of fun.
Well, you know
Um,
what's I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, that's fine. Good, go on.
Oh, my only thought on that, I think I like that observation, and I think it's funny, and I don't know if you or any other composer has also experienced this, but the issue of like over fixing something or I don't know if it's a curse or what, but if I'm working on some kind of creative project, if it's a composition or whatever, like it won't leave me, and I can't stop thinking about it until I feel like it's done.
Yeah.
And so it goes through 1,000 different, edits. I'll be driving and I'm thinking in my,
Hmm.
as I'm driving, okay, when I get home, I'm going to change this measure. And and I'm just constantly. And so I think that one thing I do that I probably, it kind of goes back to what you said is there are times like there were some points in the initial versions of the piece that were more unison. But
Hmm.
as I'm listening to it, I have this tendency to I always just like I want to fix it and then overfix it and then overfix it and then overfix it, and then sometimes perhaps the simpler way was
Yeah.
better.
That
Then
happens to me all the time where I'm like change, 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 change.
and
I
then you
actually
just go
like it the
back.
way it was originally.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that's very normal to
Oh,
for that to
okay.
happen. Yeah.
Well, at least
Uh,
I'm not as weird as I worried.
no, they haven't said me too. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's funny. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I mean, those are the two big things, which is like a couple little, or decorative things here and there, and then just like unison. But then,
Hmm.
as I was looking on the score, there was just, excuse me, there was like little things about like specifically technique that I was like little changes you can make that don't really make at least I don't think they make too much of a difference in the way that it sounds, but it does make a difference in the approachability of it. So like
Nice.
let me kind of I'm gonna bring it back, even just if we were just looking at like the first the first part as a good example. So like oh, I don't know if I can zoom in. Is there a way to zoom in on here? Let's see, 100. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. No, that's speed.
Oh,
It's
oh,
the magnifying glass. And it up there's a guitar symbol, and then here I can. It's right here.
yeah, I don't
It's
see
this
it.
one right here.
Oh, thank you.
Is Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I feel you just made me feel old.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Okay, no, that's fine. So, all right. So, especially like, okay, let's take a look at this. Like, in the, I noticed it in the top part of this piano, the piano part here. So,
Hmm.
the way you opened, I was like, yeah, this feels awesome. Like, let me, oh, I think I might be getting some feedback here, but that's fine. So, you know what I'll do, is, I'm gonna mute this for a second.
Sure.
Oh, hold on. Okay, can you, hold on. Can you hear me?
I can hear your voice. Yeah,
Okay,
I think
can you hear the,
I can hear the piano. Yeah, and your voice.
or actually, can I, is there a way to, um, mix, you have to upgrade. Okay. Um,
Well,
okay,
I can do it on mine. I mean, I'm logged in on my side. I have the paid, I have all the features. I mean, if you
Yeah, it's just something
Something
about
you need
because
to.
the audio from Note Flight is mixing with the audio of my audio, so
Okay.
it's just kind of getting in the way. But
Would you like me to share it or no? Whatever.
no, that's okay.
Okay.
I'll just kind of more try to verbally say what I'm
Okay.
talking about. Or I guess I could just pull up the yeah. You know what? Let me cross out of this. I'll just do this instead. The PDF that'll fix it. All right. So it started off great, right? So little thing. So I noticed like hold on. Let me drag this up. And I know we got to go soon, but it's so cool. So very technically pleasing. The only thing I might consider, and you'll see why in a bit, is like changing the end of this a little bit, and just doing
Mm-hmm.
like B by itself, top two notes by itself, and then landing it together, tension.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more of a reason.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more of a reason why I might do that. So like, okay, take a look at the second page here. So, um, the consistency. What I'm looking for is like the consistency of the technique, and so like,
Yeah.
um, right, and so you've got
Mm-hmm.
this nice little like art going on, and then in the next measure in particular, this is where I first really noticed it, which is like it could be nice to have that same texture. So like,
Mm-hmm.
repeat the E here like you did with the first pattern, and then repeat the E again here like you did before, because that was a nice feeling. So so I would either change this or I would change the original and take out those extra notes so that there's some consistency in when the accompaniment is, the accompanying voice. So you know, um, but having it change, do you have strong feelings about like looking at these measures side by side? Do you have strong feelings
Um,
about
I
those?
think no, not necessarily. I mean, I'm very interested. I can definitely try that. I think what I was shooting for is kind of a dynamic change, kind of like when we're down in the, whoops, my volume's on. And then coming up here, whoops, I got my thing in the way. I can't play.
Did you want it to be like a little lighter?
Yeah, yeah, like kind of. Whoops, where am I? Oh yeah, that. And then kind of. So
Yeah, I see. So you're trying to like create a contrast from when it comes
I
in.
was, yeah, and maybe it's not clear enough. Or I mean, but what you're saying too is, I think, I
I
mean, it's worth messing around
Yeah,
with. Sure.
personally, I feel like it doesn't make a big enough difference to
Uh-huh.
like it to re. I understand theoretically where you're coming from,
Right.
um, but practically, I'm like meh, like
Right. Right.
um,
Again,
um,
maybe overthinking. I might
yeah,
just be over
I always
zooming
favor
in a
over.
little too close.
I always favor overthinking. Overthinking is best. So
Oh, good.
there's little things like that to consider. Is like this. So it went with the technique. Does theory? Theory trump. What am I trying to say? Like uh, uh, at what points is like okay? Should I just do the same kind of thing that I did before? Um,
Hmm.
um, and this is cool. Da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-da- Oh, as far as notation's concerned, is there a way in NoteFlight to write all of this with 8VA?
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
I think
I
especially if
should,
you're
huh?
yeah, if you're doing for
Yeah.
students, getting
Hmm.
getting up into the hairy,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
that's the other thing too.
No, you're right. Before I send that out to people, I would. There are lots of notation changes. this is just kind of me, like I said, just slapping the notes in there to make sure I don't remember, I don't forget musically what it is, and they're not even in the correct. Like I would there before I send it out, and I had to do this a lot with the previous project.
Uh-huh.
Is I take certain measures and put them in the other staff instead. You know what I mean? So that I can send somebody like that's your part and that is your part. So it's not really necessarily in a certain a correct staff. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That does not look like something I would send a child at this point, for sure.
But besides that, it's just little, just little. Okay, I mean, I hate to do this, but I think we have to end. But
Sure. Yeah.
this, I just, that just fantastic from all three of you guys. I just,
Yes, I loved your music, both of you, Kimberly and oh gosh, your name, the
Houston.
other guy, Houston. Sorry, you
Yeah,
guys are awesome.
yeah. It's just
Finally.
this has been so fun. I want to do this again. And so yeah, awesome job to all three of you,
Sending
and
it.
thank you for coming and for watching, for everyone who's just
Welcome.
watching. Yeah. And then yeah, feel free, reach out to me. You're always welcome to reach out to me. I do a club on Monday nights. It's if anyone's interested in joining, it's just where we kind of just hang out and talk about composition. It's real cheap too. But that's just besides the point. But yeah, so if you guys ever have any questions, like I'm always available. Like just reach out. I'm more
Cool,
than happy to.
awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Your composition class is Monday at 7.
Yeah. Monday. Well,
Is that
it might be changing. I might be moving it an hour earlier.
okay? I'm
Yeah.
still teaching no matter what, but that's
Okay.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I really appreciated your feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. All right. And then make
Question.
sure. Yeah.
So when's the next class?
Oh, you mean today? It's at the next class today is at 7 o'clock.
Not today.
Oh,
When's the
the
next?
next time I'm gonna do this, I don't know yet.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, great.
See
Thanks
you.
again, everyone. And I guess I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
See
so
you
you.
much.
guys.
Yeah.
Bye. Great
All right.
music. See you
Uh,
guys.
All right.
okay. Goodbye.
All right. Bye bye.